The social media circulation on the defense force issues, recruitment issues, the fuel crisis that is imminent, as well as the resettlement issue that is facing us. The eviction notice given or the court order issued on few of the settlements in and around the 8 Mile Erima-Wildlife area. So 3 core issues, but I'd like to indicate cabinet has just concluded. The Honorable Minister Lelang has been appointed as chair of a high-level cabinet committee. Myself and Treasurer will work with him, and he will chair this committee of cabinet members to look into the fuel crisis that is imminent as a result of the prolonged war that is happening in Gulf of Persia and in the Middle East. I want to indicate to the country, Cabinet has received considered advice from ICCC and Treasury. We've been joined here by Mr. Nagi, the new ICCC CEO. Advice has come that the international price has increased substantially. Many parts of the world, the importation of fuel has gone up by almost 70–80%. Papua New Guinea needs to take step, and government has allocated an envelope of a billion kina envelope to give to pass on to importers of fuel, so that our consumers, whether as a consumer, as a company, industry, or people at the fuel bouses, whether it's kerosene, petrol, diesel, or jet fuel for our planes and ships, we do not pass on the burden to the consumers. Clear instruction has gone to ICCC. We want to maintain the price of the fuel price as at March. I know ICCC, based on the readjustments taking place globally, has issued an instruction out that the price is now is increased, pegged against the global price increase. However, Cabinet's intervention now will see ICCC having a relook at the rate, and we want the rate to go back to March 2026 rate, whether it's kerosene, jet fuel, petrol, or diesel. So our government has given a billion kina envelope to assist importers of fuel. The gap that they will, the money they need to buy at international price, they can buy, but a pass on to our consumers is passed on relative to the price of the petroleum products as at March this year. So this is a big announcement. Cabinet was in unison. There was no dispute that in tough times the government must step in. And so we making this big call. Government will pathway with a billion kina revenue, and the revenue sources we've asked for, we're asking Treasury to look at GST reliefs, or stamp duty and levy reliefs, import duty reliefs, as well as possibly asking 2 or 3 importers of fuel in terms of a tax credit arrangement. So they part way with what they're supposed to pay state to the tune of a billion kina, and the pass on goes to our consumers to pay at March price that was at March 2026. So that's one announcement I'd like to indicate to the country. As a responsible government, we feel we must make these necessary steps. It is not the first time this Pangdf administration has gone through global crisis. We lived through the 2020 COVID-19 impact that sort of stranglehold on global economy, as well as PNG economy. We have given relief to our people, whether it's school fee or fuel relief or freight support like this. We're also looking part of that 1 billion kina facility. I'm just encouraging our people. Don't buy, don't burn up fuel unnecessarily. Live in a manner in which you are preserving your own kina, preserving your own, so that we assist to keep the fuels running. From indication that we have received, we have fuel up to May, but we're working with the importers We also, part of the cabinet decision, we've asked, we've placed a call to U.S. government in respect to our defense cooperation agreement we have with them on how fuel could be imported. We're also working with Australia in terms of the security treaty we have with them to see how we could all, in the region, keep enough supply of fuel or access to supply of fuel going forward into the future. I see that the Strait of Hormuz has there's some clearance going on there, but from indications, the effect of what has happened consequently will be going on for some time. So, as responsible, as responsible government, we took responsibility to part with a billion kina envelope to making sure that we plug in the gaps, so the added cost of imported fuel pegged against the global price at present is minimized, and we work to making sure that people are paying at the bouses and the business are buying from the fuel distributors at a price that was originally the March price. The ICCC has been asked to step up their game, making sure that this relief is passed to the consumer, not to the wholesaler. We will subsidize the cost of import by the facility we're setting up. We also asking central bank and Minister Lelang will work in this space, pulling in central bank, IRC, Treasury, and all of us at the below the cabinet level. Minister Lelang is chairing this committee to look into full utilization, all tools we have in this hard time. Not just deployment of fiscal tools, we want to deploy full range of monetary tools, including looking at the kina exchange rate regimes we currently have. Because these are not ordinary times. The cost of global inflation has gone up. What happens elsewhere will eventually migrate to our country, especially imported inflation. So the price of goods and services elsewhere. So Minister Lelang is an experienced economist. He will pull the Treasury team, Central Bank team, ICCC team, Prime Minister and NEC, the Justice Department team together to see that we are on maximum cylinder burning with respect to utilizing both our fiscal tools we have as well as our monetary policy tools, so that we're able to fully 100% assist our economy in these extraordinary times we are in. Crisis may go on for some time, so I just want to also caution Papua New Guineans. Buy local produce, especially food. Buy local produce food. We are better known to have subsidized transportation of local market produces, sweet potatoes, taros, bananas, etc., from elsewhere to major urban markets, especially Port Moresby, that is isolated from connections elsewhere, where possibly 1 million mouths are here in Port Moresby. So we're ready to subsidize local foods from Mumase, New Guinea Islands, or Highlands, from Ley to Port Moresby, to make sure that if the price of rice has gone up as a result of this, etc., you're able to buy locally, so we all are insulated from feeling the direct hit of a global economy that is now facing exacerbated inflation as a result of this crisis that has happened in the Middle East. So, all in all, in summary, a billion kina envelope has been availed by cabinet and government, and we will subsidize the importation of fuel. The pass on to our consumers should be at March price. And I want to appeal to our consumers. ICCC will then have to rework on the pricing for March. So it's not going to be sort of right away. I beg your understanding as we work through. Hopefully, this time next week, we're able to get the right price announced to our country again, so that you know what you're paying for petrol, diesel, jet fuel, and kerosene. I note with concern the rise in kerosene price. I note with concern the rise in kerosene is also almost equivalent to the price of jet A fuel. So, knowing that there's a pass on to consumers, we want to address this at the earliest. And I want to indicate Treasury will make available 100 million kina at the very earliest 100 million kina at the very earliest to work with our importers so that they have this revenue envelope set aside so they could then use. Because it is not us making this announcement. They need to buy. They need to buy those products outside already at the increased rate. We're trying to ask them to sell at the discount. So government will then give the money to them. You buy it at the world price at the increased rate, but you bring it in, you have your profit already given, or the cost of increase given to you, you then sell to the bosses at the price we feel that is affordable to our people, and that is the match price that we have indicated. On the second issue, I want to indicate, yesterday we had a interagency meeting on the eviction notice issued to residents of Wildlife, Erima, and elsewhere in the vicinity. The full and relevant and appropriate agencies and agency heads showed up, and we've resolved to convey through the Chief Secretary's leadership, convey to the developer. Apparently, the developer is a local developer. The developer had in their possession titles since 2012 and 13. These are all titles since 2012 and 13. They had secured court orders since 2018. So in those court orders that were secured, they've been going in and out of the court, and court has upheld that the orders must be implemented. And I basically used humanitarian grounds to ask them for a stay and not to fully utilize the court order. And our meeting also found solutions. One of the immediate solutions is for Lands Department working with the City Hall to allocate equivalent sized land elsewhere. To give to the developer as we work in the immediate to work with NCD, making sure those that are in those areas of eviction are properly identified, properly named, and we look at overlaying and working with the City Hall in the conversion of proper conversion to a proper identified suburban sort of arrangements. So that is medium term to long term, but immediately we ask the developer to stay based on humanitarian grounds. The developer is a senior Papua New Guinean business entity backed by a subsidiary or a sister law firm of the same business group. And so we've asked them, Chief Secretary and the team have reached out to them, stay your court order. And, I also said if they want to deploy the court order for the sake of our people, I'm willing to go to courts too. And I'm willing to take a contempt court order just for the sake of this intervention we're making. But we offered solution. We said we'll find if you want to develop, state will find equivalent sized land available in city. We'll pass it on to you. You develop the land, and we work through the process of those that are facing eviction to properly number them, name them, and others who will be in the areas of trunk roads or feeder roads or the utility lineage, whether it's power or water, then we get them relocated. The member for Mosby noticed through our government's intervention that in the last 2 years we passed over 30 billion kina, 30 million kina. 30 million kina already to him. He's now availing over 5,000 hectares of land. 5,000 blocks of land. So we will work, and I want to appeal to our people. Firstly, don't settle on land that is not properly under your name or title. I understand clearly that Lands Department and access to title has been an issue. That's why we're working around the clock to make sure land is, don't relocate our people. We'll give you appropriate lands to the size of what you already have elsewhere, and you go and develop this land. They are known developer in that vicinity. The developer has already put into development possibly over 1,000 allotment already developed. So it's not an overseas investor. It's not a newcomer. They've already known to have developed land, and it's good that a company who has track record of developing the land has an interest. But the national government will assist. Preserve these people there. We work with them so the people in Wildlife and Erima, no can make him law not a problem. Part of the reason why you live next to the Kennedy estate. So those who are living next to Kennedy estate, you're causing lawless activities in between the properly settled people and on the other side. No can make him lawless activities. Government below you, Prime Minister below you, step in, you make the intervention now. You stop easy, sit down easy, people are counting you good. If second, third generation Port Moresby, or you got legally walk the city, or you got legally SME activity in the city, we will try to make sure that you are settled properly. But your side of the bargain is following rule of law in our city. 2028 NRL Bakama, we want to make our city a good, livable city where the diversity of people we have in our country are enjoying life in a modern, blended city. So, we talk about the line along Erima-Wildlife, line we love this. So, in that context, tomorrow I'll be announcing to the country once the new advisors have come in. We want to have Australian Defence Advisor to be part of a three-man high investigation team led by Chief Secretary and to be led by our State Solicitor, assisted by State Solicitor, and Canberra has been asked, a senior defence official from Australian Defence Force to be associated with this to have a look into what has happened in Murray Barracks. This is not the first time. We had a slip-up about 5 years ago. We had a slip-up about 10 years ago too. Recruitment in Murray Barracks seems to become an issue where many conflict of interests, whether it's from Defence Force officers themselves who want to have their, seems like an inheritance where the family's been thrown in, one dog's been thrown in. So this has been a long time problem that has run for the last 15, 10, 5, and now this time around we're having this issue. We're trying to modernize our defense force. We're trying to build our defense force to a 7,000-man force that is able, ready, on air, on land, and on sea, and in cyber technologies. Look at what's happening in the Middle East. It's a cyber technology warfare that is happening in place. This is not to preserve an interest of one little soldier at Murray Barracks or recruit that is coming in. This is national. Something gone wrong, then through the proper inquiry takes place. But you don't record people online. That's a national security issue. So we'll be looking at the entire thing in totality. Murray Barracks, if you don't not fit to self-defense and you have factual interests, sexual interests, personal interests coming in, we're looking at invoking higher penalties, penalties relating to treason, sedition, because defense is national sovereignty. Tomorrow when I make announcements, more announcements to come tomorrow, Defense Minister step aside. We're looking at who should step aside at Murray Barracks. We're getting correct advices in the process. I will be inserting myself as a Defense Council member. We're giving the Defense Commander and Defense Secretary 7-day notice to respond to why this has happened, and then we'll take it on from there. So I just want to send word to Murray Barracks. Cost enough shame to this country for so long. You work too, but you allow this to creep in. 5 years ago, same problem happened. 10 years ago, same problem happened. When recruitment was called for, we had all manners of people walking in, making hard for qualified young Papua New Guineans. Part of this decision, we'll have a quota allocated in any recruitment. There'll be quota allocated to all our 20 provinces, our National Capital District, especially indigenous Motu Quaitas. So in this day and age, a 20-year-old born in 2006 would have a birth certificate. Hello? Not like James Marape born in 1971 with no birth certificate in a bush place called Tari. A 2006 birthed person, a 2007 birthed person, a 19-year-old, a 2005 birthed person, a 21-year-old. We'll have a birth certificate. We'll have a grade 12 certificate. will have a grade 10 certificate. There should be a registry of ID in that person's life. So the system should pick up that it progress on to be selected without even the commander worrying about who's being selected. In 2026, in a day and age of artificial intelligence and ICT, we should be much smarter than what has been coming out of Marape to date. So I speak this with a lot of emotion because I've worked tirelessly to create 10,000 paths for 10,000 young Papua New Guinean men and women to go and work in Australia, as well as the 7,000 force that we want to build for our own country. At this sort of rubbish from a small interest, whether it's a Nipa Kurubu interest in politics or National 2027 interest in politics, whatsoever, or as an officer down the line because he wants to be given a shade of drink, whatsoever, always causing dent to a major national constitutional institution called PNG Defence Force. And so enough is enough. We will never look into this. If it means some have to go, some have to go. So I just want to ask Marape Barracks, sleep well tonight. If you are not in engagement that is inappropriate, you have nothing to worry. Proper investigation will affirm what went wrong. But for those who have caused issue in this one, at the highest is seditious, at the lowest is termination. We'll get into the bottom of this thing and sort it once and for all. So recruits, we want to open up recruiting into the future. Those that have already passed recruiting in Goldie, it's not wrong for defense to run continuous tests. Update your stamina, your IQ, your examinations. The process of continuous testing will go on. So only the fit and proper, with discipline, gets into SEB and the PNG Defence Force or police for that matter. I want to announce this to the country that some issues are bigger than James Marape. It's national security at stake. And this sort of decisions must be taken. Great commendations to Minister Billy Joseph for stepping aside. Tomorrow I'll be able to advise the terms of investigation and what happens at Marape Barracks, and for us to move into the next 2 or 3 weeks. This is not a complicated investigation. I want to get it done in the next 2 weeks. So the country exactly knows what has happened. In 2 weeks, we should have affirmative view on what has happened, at what layer this contamination rot came in. Whether the Commander and Defense Council level, or the second tier level, or third tier level, or at Goldie level, we'll get into this so that it does not repeat again what needs to be done so that quality pass through and quality gets out. I'm targeting the work in Australia. Queensland will need more police recruit from PNG also into future as we work there. So we need the recruitment system we have in our country to be of top quality, not filled with all these things that we currently face. It's an employment creation opportunity for our young people into the future. So I want Marape Barracks to step up. I want Konedobu Police to step up. This day and age, use ICT to advertise. Go straight to the high schools. What's wrong in picking straight from high schools? They got marks coming up. Go on a recruitment drive in the high schools. If Hela is to give five from Hela, go to the high schools in Hela and interview. If Southern Islands 5, go to Southern Islands 5. If Western Islands 5, Enga 5, Manus 5, New Island 5. This is a sort of transparent system that we expect leadership in Marape Barracks to deploy. Not the wishy-washy and all these crappy things that keeps on happening right through. So Minister Billy himself has led the way, step aside, because his name has been branded. I've been reliably informed. And it would be unfair on me not to hold this. That some people involved in election petition with him are also behind this in terms of branding this. So we'll look into all this also in the full picture. Some Nipa Kuru politics has crept into what is happening there. It would be unfair of me not to mention this. If it is really happening, then we will also announce it at a later time. Who took the pictures? Who are these people who said, Minister Billy, got me in? All this will be looked at. This who came on video will be asking them. Because it is not just them and Minister Billy and today. It is the integrity of PNG Defence Force that is at stake that we have to restore. All right, I'm Tasola. Mila go now. in the field relief space also. So I am absolutely certain we will go through this one, but don't hold me against my word. We all have to support each other going forward. And $1 billion Kenya relief to our people is unprecedented. Cabinet had an option. We were given an option to support 50% fuel relief. But in the wisdom of Cabinet, we said, what is in a 30 billion Kenya budget this year? We could afford to slash $1 billion just to give relief to our people. So we're making the sacrifice. And it's not new to us. 2020, we went through the same process of helping the economy. We have enough experience as government to try to waver through this moment. And we're on a lookout with our bilateral partner nations in terms of fuel mobilization. And we also have Puma, which is a subsidiary of Trafigura. They've given us assurance, they've written to me that they're able to pull fuels from outside. So if we give them this relief, then they're able to pull it and we pass on at a discount. We only have 2 or 3 fuel importers right now. Puma, ExxonMobil, and our own Octedi. Octedi, in the stress we had with Puma a few years back, Octedi has been asked to go into the fuel business because they need fuel to survive up there in the Star Mountains. So they also have been, in the last 2 years, have stepped up this space. Thankfully, Octedi informs us that we have that one fuel that could cover us for almost, converse with what's happening all over the place. But we'll get back to you. If it's suspended, and suspension is suspension, it is not termination. You are a good English student, you know the distinction between suspension and termination.
Prime Minister, first of all, to address defense force recruitment, are you considering to have the defense force recruitment as a school-based force?
Correct. Correct. As I was saying, with quota allocated to each province and Bougainville, and then you go to the high school straight and pick from high schools. At the moment, sometimes in the past, Tambu country susah brought up Mari Barracks, line up. You talk about minister or politician, but Tambu country too line up Tambu Mari Barracks. Me, Papa policeman, so we must come a policeman. Papa army, so we must come up army. No that. You have to earn it on merit. So by me go out and recruit law high school. Direct school, you grade 12, you finish. Maybe none one time you come and say, no, come up man, you start married and you start army. So we have to do it in this manner now going forward. All right, thank you too much. God bless, sir. Good luck.